You know, every time I go through the Morphic Tunnel, it feels like it gets longer and longer. Yeah, I can't really complain, as it's nice to just sit back and relax while we get towed through. Once we're out, we hit my favorite stretch of the mountain range. It's absolutely stunning, and honestly, one of the nicest railroads to travel on.
Have a look at that landscape. It's like a painting.
I know, it's breathtaking. The guy giving us a tow, I've been friends with since my early 20s.
Early 20s? So what, you've known him for like 100 years?
Closer to 40 years, but yes, we are old, wise railmen, unlike someone else in this camp. His name's Arlo. He wants us to wait for him to park the loco so he can jump on board and journey to Denver with us. He needs a lift to Pine Cliff Station.
Excellent. I'm sure he'll have stories to tell us about you on the way.
On second thought, I might tell Arlo to find his own way there. Newbie, uncouple us from Arlo's loco. Wait for him to park his loco near the shed on the left of us. Once he's on board, you can take us through to Denver.
Now, wasn't that a fun little trip through Middle Earth? How's everyone doing?
Thanks for the tow, Arlo. Much appreciated. This here is Rusty, and our newest trainee learning to drive their very first steamer.
Nice. I'm sure it won't take you long to get the hang of things. I remember my first day driving a steam engine.
Hey, I usually start my stories off like that.
Okay, there's plenty of time for stories. Let's get the journey underway. Newbie, start the train moving forward. Watch your speed while heading down this section of track. The train can get away from you if you're not careful.
I remember back in the day when you were told the same thing, Chuck. I think we saw a few sparks fly that day.
Oh, really? How interesting. Please tell us more about the adventures of Chuck.
Chuck was definitely a bit of a wild child when we first met.
Back in the 1800s, right?
Oh, we have a wise guy on board with us. Good to know. Here's a good story I remember from a while ago. Not far from this section of track, just over the bridge, there was the biggest brown bear I had ever seen. Being new to this area, we were both utterly amazed by the incredible natural beauty surrounding us that we just had to take a closer look. Chuck stopped the loco and we both hopped out. The brown bear was over by the river catching fish. Standing just outside on the ballast watching the majestic animal, we didn't notice Mama Bear was hidden in the bushes behind us. We heard the loudest roar. As we turned, we saw another huge bear charging towards us. I slipped on the gravel, so I was pretty much done for, my life flashing before my eyes. I had no clue where Chuck was, but it turns out his quick thinking of climbing straight back into the cab to blast the horn saved my backside.
Wow, Chuck. You're a hero.
Well, I don't like to toot my own horn, but that day I'm glad I did. There is a fair amount of traffic on the rails today, so be on the lookout. Watch your track profile for signal changes. I believe there is a red signal up ahead. Slow your speed to accommodate the oncoming freight train until the signal is clear.
So Arlo, do you live somewhere around here?
Not too far from here. I'm semi-retired, but I do drive occasionally between Winter Park through to Hot Sulphur Springs. I do enough to keep compliant, allowing me to tow the odd steam engine through Moffat Tunnel. I heard over the radio there's a number of rail fans out to get a glimpse of the Kanawha.
Yes, with every trip we make, the crowd of rail fans keeps getting bigger and bigger. You should keep a lookout, and if you see any rail fans along the way, be sure to sound that horn. Up ahead is Rollinsville. There's usually a few rail fans waiting to see us drive by. While it's nice to sound your horn for the crowds, make sure you stay in control of your loco. There is another freight train around the bend and a red signal up ahead. Slow down to avoid passing the signal at danger.
There looks to be some very steep cliff faces around these parts.
Occasionally I've seen a few rocks fall from time to time, but nothing large enough to cause any real damage. Someday I'd like to own a little farm like that.
In the middle of nowhere?
As far away from you as possible. A couple more Trainz fans made the trip out to see us drive on through. Be sure to sound your whistle and thank them for coming out. Pine Cliff Station is just around the bend. The junctions are set, so you should veer right at each junction till you pull into the station.
Are you in a hurry to get to Denver?
Nah, the newbie has us make a good time. We might even be ahead of schedule.
A friend of mine makes the best brisket burgers around, has his own produce. If you have the time, you're welcome to join us for a bite to eat.
I am a little hungry.
Sure, why not? Newbie, pull up at Pine Cliff Station and park. Rusty can show some of the rail fans through the cabin while they fill up on brisket.
Wait a minute. I want brisket too.
Don't worry, we'll bring you some leftovers back.
Cold brisket, huh? Great. Thanks. Thanks a lot.